Some actors can really take on any role that gets thrown at them. One of them is Pedro Pascal, who, with his recent work, has proved that he's truly capable of doing anything. And the fans believe that there are some characters in the Marvel Universe that he'd be perfect for, such as Darkhawk. One of the most intriguing Marvel superheroes is Darkhawk, who made his debut in the Darkhawk series in March 1991. His discovery of a unique token that summons the power of an android under control is the result of traumatic events and circumstances. By adopting the Darkhawk character and acting as a sincere, decent man, Powell transforms himself in the world. Ironically, Moon Knight, as portrayed by Oscar Isaac, happened to be one of Darkhawk's adversaries and allies in West Coast Avengers. Isaac and Pascal have a close connection and even collaborated on the Netflix movie Triple Frontier. It would be the ideal time to introduce characters like Darkhawk and Pascal to the MCU, and both performers have voiced a willingness to collaborate once more. The next one is another character that Pedro Pascal could easily play, being a Latino actor. I'm talking about White Tiger. White Tiger, played by Hector Ayala, was a pivotal moment for Marvel. He made his comic book debut in The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu in December 1975, becoming Marvel's first ever Latino character. Multiple personalities of color took on the identity, increasing diversity. Characters that others could identify were added in movies like Shang-Chi and Enter the Spider-Verse. Although White Tiger has yet to appear in a Marvel comic, his appearance would be appreciated. Being a Chilean-American, Pascal's potential role as a Latino superhero in upcoming MCU productions is easily possible. Hector Ayala's sister and the fifth White Tiger, Ava, is a student at the Avengers Academy. Following the deaths of her family members at the hands of Gideon Mace, she received the White Tiger amulet from her brother. Ava introduces herself by saying that the White Tiger is a family tradition that she wants to uphold. She also criticizes Reptile, a classmate, for not participating more in the Hispanic community. Pedro could easily take on the mantle. Do you think Pedro Pascal could play a supervillain? If you don't, this next possible role might make you rethink that. Let's talk about Vulcan. The question of who will play the next Marvel bad boy is perpetually up for debate because of Josh Brolin's outstanding performance as Thanos. Pascal emerges as the Vulcan Emperor. Vulcan is a terrible power, and Omega-level mutant. His brother Cyclops and the X-Men are an immediate risk because he has overthrown entire empires. Vulcan is an Omega-level mutant with the power to utterly destroy. The psychological component and the prospect comeback of the X-Men after years of rumors are the most intriguing aspects of Pascal possibly playing such a character. The Mandalorian star's resume gains an astronomical notch with the addition of a supervillain like Vulcan. Do you think Pascal can pull off Hawkeye in a future project? If he plays the next character, then Hawkeye won't seem too far-fetched. It's obviously none other than Trickshot. Pascal stated in a 2019 Wired interview that Jeremy Renner, who plays Hawkeye, is frequently used as an analogy for him. It's highly likely that Trickshot will make his MCU debut. Clint Barton's older brother, Charles Barney Barton, served as the primary model for his later profession. Trickshot, who adopted the name of his old master, is frequently in conflict with his brother and may ambush and assault him out of jealousy. It would be a game changer to introduce Trickshot with Pascal's portrayal of the character. Although Renner is the older of the two actors in real life, there's always an opportunity for variation. The fact that Hawkeye's brother is an adversary opens up a plethora of tales, and it would be fantastic to watch them square off. Given the other characters that Pedro has played, this one doesn't seem impossible. It'll be fascinating to see him act as this next one though, considering how complex the role can get. You may already know this guy. I'm talking about Paladin. Similar to how Pascal portrayed Agent Whiskey at the climax of The Kingsman: The Golden Circle, Paladin acts in accordance with his gut feeling at the time. This Marvel character deviates from the norm pretty much hourly, much to the occasional annoyance of Spider-Man and Daredevil, who he frequently teams with. When it comes to morality, the mercenary Paladin acts as a middleman, and depending on the situation, usually works for himself. In the MCU, a character with an independent edge would be welcome, and Pascal would own it. With this representation, the affiliations and conflicts between Daredevil and Spider-Man may generate a lot of interest, excitement, and promise. The richness of Pascal's portrayal of nuanced personalities would work well together. Can Pedro pull off a character that is cursed? I don't doubt his acting skills, so imagine if he ends up playing Hood. This one would be a treat to watch. The Hood is an incredibly terrifying individual, and Pedro might just be perfect for the role. He begins as a small-time offender and curses himself by stealing the boots and robe of a demon, who eventually takes refuge in him. Hood's persona was pure evil, and when he felt wronged, he occasionally assembled groups of criminals to engage in combat. When enraged, Hood was cruel and frequently destroyed anyone and everyone. Because Robert McCall is aware of David York's internal crimes, he confronts him in The Equalizer 2. The most terrifying aspect of their conversation is when York's entire manner changes, revealing a previously hidden side to him. In this scene, Pascal's acting is so strong that he appears to be silently acknowledging his cunning, as evidenced by the darkening of his eyes. It is possible for him to fully embody this role when playing a merciless antagonist like Hood. The next one on the list is one that you probably didn't think of yet, but hear me out. He can do it. I think he'd be able to pull it off. We're talking about Charles Ryder. Pedro Pascal is a versatile actor who clearly excels in playing father figures. For Pascal and the MCU, Charles Ryder, who is Nova's father, would make for a pretty great collaboration. The conflict between parents and children is common in comic books, and Charles occasionally experienced it with his son Nova. Din Djarin's portrayal of his father figure in The Mandalorian and Pascal's upcoming role as Joel Miller in HBO's The Last of Us would both be examples of Pascal playing a father figure in the MCU. The Star Wars actor might become a Marvel father, with Nova being mentioned as a prospective Disney Plus MCU entry. Lastly, if he ends up playing the next character at some point, it'd be a dream come true. Imagine Pedro as Spider-Man 2099. Is there even such a thing as too many Spider-Men? I think not. In 2023, Oscar Isaac, a close friend of Pascal's, will voice this iteration of the well-known web-slinger in Sony Animation's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. There is still a chance that Spider-Man 2099 will appear in the MCU despite this. Given that Spider-Man has dominated the multiverse saga's first phase in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Spider-Man 2099 might appear in a future live-action movie. Pedro can easily pull off this character in a live-action version. It would be really fascinating to see him shooting webs and slinging from building to building. I have zero doubt about him pulling off these characters listed above. He's just too good. Which character do you want him to play the most from this list? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching.
The last time I was at a celebration was in the beginning of 2019, and we've all been through a lot since then.